Former ambassador to Ukraine testified about the smear campaign against her. Then the tweet from the president targeting her as she testified. Late today, the president is asked, was it witness intimidation? Also breaking tonight, two planes colliding. The images just coming in now, one on top of the other. Emergency crews on the scene at this hour, the possible fuel leak. Just in tonight, the major decision in the case of Rodney Reed, who was facing execution within days. What we have just learned. Guilty on all counts. The president's longtime associate, Roger Stone, found guilty. How much time does he face in federal prison? Also new tonight, Prince Andrew talking about his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. The interview in which he's asked about the young woman in this photograph who says she was forced to have sex with him when she was a teenager. What he says about her tonight. News on the deadly school shooting, the terror 16 seconds long, and what we've now learned about the gunman. The punishment is in tonight after that NFL brawl overnight, the player who's now been suspended indefinitely. And the FDA warning tonight involving common over-the-counter medications. What you need to know. And the epic rematch millions will watch tonight.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Friday night. We do have several breaking headlines, and we're going to begin with that stunning moment that played out today during the impeachment hearings on live television in front of millions of Americans. Former ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, who joined the Foreign Service under President Reagan, was testifying about the smear campaign against her before she was then ousted from her job, and then describing her shock when she learned President Trump brought up her name with the president of Ukraine on that infamous phone call, saying she was bad news and that she's going to go through some things. She described how that was threatening, unsettling, and then today, the tweet from President Trump right in the middle of it all. They read it to her on live TV. She was stunned again. Democrats and Republicans taken aback, and ABC's Mary Bruce leads us off tonight from the Hill.
The ousted ambassador to Ukraine, Marie Yovanovitch, came to tell her story of being targeted by the president's allies, not knowing that she would soon be targeted again.
I come before you as an American citizen who has devoted the majority of my life, 33 years, to service to the country that all of us love.
As ambassador, she says she came under attack by the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, who saw her as an obstacle to the politically motivated investigations Trump was hoping for. That she was smeared by the president's son and a host on Fox News. Looking to save her job, she reached out for advice from the president's mega donor and U.S. ambassador to the EU, Gordon Sondland.
He suggested that I needed to go big or go home, and he said that the best thing to do would be to, send out a tweet, praise the president, that sort of thing.
And what was your reaction to that advice?
Well, my reaction was that I'm sure he meant well, but it was not advice that I could really follow. It felt It felt partisan, it felt political.
But then in April, in the middle of the night, a call from an official at the State Department.
She said that there were great concerns, there were concerns up the street, and she said I needed to come home immediately, get on the next plane to the U.S., and I asked her why. And she said she wasn't sure, but there were concerns about my security.
You said there were concerns up the street. What did you understand that to mean?
The White House.
How did that make you feel?
Terrible, honestly.
Back in the U.S., she said a top State Department official told her she had done nothing wrong. Then, in September, Yovanovitch stunned as she read the transcript of the president's phone call with the Ukrainian leader, Trump calling her, quote, bad news, adding she's going to go through some things.
I was shocked, absolutely shocked, and devastated, frankly. It was a terrible moment. A person who saw me actually reading the transcript said that the color drained from my face. I think I even had a physical reaction. I think, even now, words kind of fail me.
Did you feel threatened?
I did.
Then, that stunning moment, as Yovanovitch testified about the smear campaign against her, she was being smeared again in real time by the president.
Ambassador Yovanovitch, as we sit here testifying, the president is attacking you on Twitter, and I'd like to give you a chance to respond. I'll read part of one of his tweets. Everywhere Marie Yovanovitch went turned bad. She started off in Somalia. How did that go? What would you like to respond to the president's attack that everywhere you went turned bad?
Well, I don't think I have such powers, not in Mogadishu, Somalia, and not in other places. I actually think that where I've served over the years, I and others have demonstrably made things better.
Schiff with a stark warning.
Now the president in real time is attacking you. What effect do you think that has on other witnesses' willingness to come forward and expose wrongdoing?
Well, it's very intimidating.
Well, I want to let you know, Ambassador, that some of us here take witness intimidation very, very seriously.
After the Trump tweet, even Republicans applauding the ambassador.
You're tough as nails and you're smart as hell. And you're a great example of what our ambassadors should be like.
We are lucky to have you in Foreign Service, and I again want to thank you for your tremendous public service.
But Republicans argued that Yovanovitch's testimony is not relevant to impeachment, that she returned from her post well before the president withheld nearly $400 million in military assistance to Ukraine, as he was asking them to investigate the Bidens.
Do you have any information regarding any criminal activity that the President of the United States has been involved with at all?
No.
Again and again, Republicans said the president has a right to remove any ambassador he wants. Yovanovitch agreed, but added this question.
What I'd like to say is, while I obviously don't dispute that the president has the right to withdraw an ambassador at any time for any reason, but what I do wonder is why it was necessary to smear my reputation.
And after 5 hours of testimony, Yovanovitch exiting to applause.
So let's get to Mary Bruce live on the Hill tonight, and there's still more unfolding. We know, Mary, at this hour. Earlier this week, as we were watching the first day of televised hearings, a U.S. diplomat, the top diplomat in Ukraine, revealing a staffer overheard President Trump through the phone on a call the day after that infamous call with the president of Ukraine, and that he was checking in on the investigations. That was the word used in testimony this week. Has that been backed up tonight?
Well, David, that aide, David Holmes, says he was in a restaurant in Kiev when he overheard the president on a phone call with Ambassador Sondland. Now, according to his opening statement obtained by CNN, Holmes said that the president was talking so loudly that Gordon Sondland actually had to hold the phone away from his ear. Holmes has testified just now that he heard the president ask about the investigations. And afterwards, he says that Sondland told him that the president only cares, quote, about the big stuff that benefits the president, big stuff like the Biden investigation. David.
All right, Mary Bruce, a long day on the Hill. You were with us every step of the way. Thank you. President Trump was pressed late today about that tweet in the middle of testimony from Marie Yovanovitch. He was asked, was it witness intimidation, witness tampering? Here's what he told our John Carl.
Mr. President, what do you say to Democrats who say you were witness tampering this morning when you made that tweet attacking Ambassador
transparency?
Well,
I'll talk about transparency. I like transparency here, and I'm the most transparent president in history. And I'll tell you about what tampering is. Tampering is when a guy like Shifty Schiff doesn't let us have lawyers. Tampering is when Schiff doesn't let us have witnesses, doesn't let us speak. I've been watching today for the first time. I started watching,
lawyer there questioning,
and it's really sad when you see people not allowed to ask questions. There was no due process.
Republicans have been asking questions all day.
I think it's good. There has never been a disgrace like what's going on right now. So you know what? I have the right to speak. I have freedom of speech, just as other people do.
Let's get to John Carl. He's live at the White House tonight. And John, the president says he has the right to speak. We just heard him say that there. And the Democratic chair, Adam Schiff, said today, with millions watching, that they will take witness intimidation very seriously. And John, even blindsided, some Republicans were blindsided by this tweet.
The Republicans were blindsided, David, and unhappy about it. Republican Congresswoman Liz Cheney said the president was wrong, saying, quote, Yovanovitch is somebody who's been a public servant to the United States for decades. I don't think the president should have said that. White House officials were caught by surprise as well. One official telling ABC News they were, quote, flabbergasted by the tweet, calling it an avoidable error. That said, officials here are insisting that this was not witness tampering. They point out that the president tweeted after Yovanovitch had already started her testimony and wouldn't have known about it if Schiff hadn't mentioned it during the testimony.
All right, John Carl live at the White House. John and Mary, thanks to you. Our coverage of the impeachment hearing for tonight, and we are also following another developing story. Two planes colliding at the airport in San Antonio, one plane ending up on top of the other right next to the runway. ABC's David Corley with the images coming in now.
Investigators tonight want to know exactly how these two private jets ended up in a tangled mess. One Cessna on top of another in San Antonio. Airport emergency crews responded, worried about 300 gallons of fuel which leaked from one of the aircraft. One of the jets had been parked on the ramp for more than a week. A source tells ABC News that second aircraft, arriving from San Jose, was taxiing on the ramp when it accidentally thrusted and careened into the parked aircraft. There was only one person involved in this accident, the pilot of the jet that had just landed. That pilot was not injured, and the emergency crews were able to contain that fuel spill. David?
David Corley with us live. David, thank you. Another late development tonight involving that high-profile death row inmate Rodney Reed, who was just days away from execution. Tonight, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals issuing Reed an indefinite stay of execution for his murder conviction 23 years ago, putting that execution on hold. His case has been taken up by the Innocence Project and by some famous names, including Kim Kardashian and Brianna. Reed telling ABC's Deborah Roberts in an interview you saw right here that he is innocent, that he's always maintained that. His lawyers say they continue to focus on new evidence in the case. Now to the verdict tonight involving Roger Stone, guilty on all counts. The president's longtime associate, guilty of lying to Congress and witness tampering and obstruction. Now facing what could be significant time in federal prison. Here's our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas.
Tonight's so-called dirty trickster Roger Stone and political disciple of Richard Nixon emerging from the courthouse moments after he was found guilty on all 7 counts of witness tampering, obstruction, and lying to Congress. Donald Trump's longtime friend and one of his first political advisors, now facing years in prison, described as turning beet red as the jury's verdict was read. Prosecutors argued Stone obstructed a congressional probe into how Russia funneled stolen Democratic emails to WikiLeaks to interfere with the 2016 election. Former Trump campaign chief Steve Bannon testifying Stone was the unofficial access point to WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks, I love WikiLeaks.
Stone denied he ever had conversations with Donald Trump about Russia. At trial, phone records that had been redacted from the public Mueller report revealed Stone repeatedly spoke with candidate Trump during the summer of 2016, at the same time he was chasing those stolen emails from WikiLeaks.
David, Stone joins a number of the president's advisors and associates who have been convicted, ranging from his former national security advisor to his personal attorney. The charges amount to decades of prison term for him possibly, although he will likely face far less incarceration. What we don't yet know is whether Stone will be pardoned and never see prison. David?
Pierre Thomas with us live tonight as well. Thank you, Pierre. We turn next tonight to the interview. Britain's Prince Andrew breaking his silence on his relationship with accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. What he said about a young woman who claims she was forced to have sex with him when she was a teenager. Here's ABC's Eva Pilgrim tonight.
Tonight, Prince Andrew breaking his silence about the teenager in this 2001 photo who says she was forced by Jeffrey Epstein to have sex with the prince. The prince claiming in an exclusive interview with the BBC he doesn't remember meeting her.
One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever.
You don't remember meeting her?
No.
Virginia Roberts Giuffre, now a 35-year-old mother, says British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell recruited her at age 16, then groomed her to become Epstein's teenage sex slave. In court filings in a defamation case against Maxwell, Giuffre claimed Epstein ordered her to have sex with some of his powerful friends, including on 3 occasions Prince Andrew, in London, at Epstein's home in New York, and on his